So welcome to Canva Beyond the Basics and how I've structured tonight's workshop. I've just gone through all of my fun favorite things that I do in Canva Beyond the Basics talked about a couple of weeks ago. So if you haven't already and you'd like to, you can pop back into the SCPA's. I think they've got it on their YouTube site, which is our last workshop where we went through a whole bunch of things. And I believe from there you'll be able to access the template that I sent out, that everyone that has some structured ways in which you can have a play and work along with that as well. So feel free to go back and watch that. Tonight, we're just going to go through all of the different fun things that I think are coming out. Certainly not a comprehensive workshop tonight. There's no way I can cover everything that Canva does, but that is what we're getting up to this evening. So I wanted to just break it down. We've got sort of four main areas that I have broken down tonight's workshop with. Is the first thing we're going to do is have a play with some of the editing options within images. I know that if you've had a go already, Canva has a huge suite of elements, they call them. So different images, graphics, photos, all sorts of things within the suite of Canva, but you can take those images and tweak them and play with them and also do the same with your own images that you upload. So we're going to have a play with a few different ways to do that. The next is a series of handy tips that I've got for you. Thirdly, we're going to discuss a few of the different presentation tips and ways in which you can record yourself or present live with Canva. And then finally, the apps as part of the Canva suite. There's a lots of add-ins that you can use. I've pulled out a few of my favorites that we're going to go through there. So to get us started, what I want to do is just talk about how we're going to manage tonight. So tonight I'm using Canva Pro and I want to hear from everyone here. First of all, have you logged into Canva before? Is this your first time having a go? I'd love to just maybe in the chat or you can talk to me to find out. So hopefully you have access to Canva Pro to be able to do a lot of the things that we're doing here tonight. I know that that costs money. I did say in the advertisement that that's what we're going to be playing with is a lot of the things that are part of the Pro version. If you don't want to pay any money, and I certainly get that, and there's plenty of times that I have not done that. I do pay for it myself. However, if you wanted to have a play tonight and you were willing to do so, there is a free trial that you can sign up for. You do need to, I think, put some payment details in there. There's a free 30-day trial in which I often will try out new software in that way, and then I'll make sure I put it in my calendar that I go in and cancel it, because that's where they catch you, where you forget to cancel your free trials. So I always would put it in my calendar to do that. What we're going to do is play with it. So what you will need to do as a participant in this workshop is you don't have to do the pro. You can jump on here and have a play along, but you might need to just watch for some of the things because they may not work. So what we're going to do now to get everyone started, I can see that some people haven't signed up yet, and I'm going to talk you through how to do that. Not necessarily signing up to the Canva Pro, but to Canva in general. So I think the best way to do that, and I've just, I think I'm still sharing my screen here. What I'm going to do is give you a copy of this link, which is in the chat. You should find the link now. And what that link should do is it should take you to the template of this particular presentation that I have that has lots of step-by-step so that you can work alongside me as we do this together tonight. So let me just show you what that would look like. What I might do is because I'm all logged in with my personal logins and whatnot, I'll show you without that. So in an incognito window, I put that link in a browser, and what should happen is you should come up with a thing here, which is a template created by me for you to play with. And then you just click on view the template. It should bring you to a login site. If you haven't ever logged in before, you will click on to a sign in one here. I'm going to log in with my email. Oh, you can see I've tried all sorts of things. All right, let me see. No, I'm going to log in under my free version here just so that, give me 1 second. You should be able to sign up. You might need to put a few details in. And then once you log in here, it should bring you to this. Your template's ready. And we're nearly there. Open in editor. And then what you should receive is something that looks very much like this. I'm going to click out of that so that I can go back to where I was before. But I'd like to hear from everyone else. I'm going to give you a few minutes to get into there. And when you're in and ready to go, give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the chat. Say I'm ready to go. It's really great if I can find out how you're all going there. Excellent. Thank you, Lara. Great to know. Beautiful. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get in there, but it is lots of fun when we can start working together. While you're getting that done, what I might do is I'll flick out of here so that you can, and I might just go back and show you some of the things in which I might actually go across here and show you, if you haven't done the basics of Canva, I might just show you really briefly what it might look like for your Canva here. This is my home page in my Canva. As you can see, there's a lot of various things that I do. These are all my files, and Canva is essentially an online sort of software that you can use to create images, presentations, videos, lots of I think Jade said it before, content type things. I know a lot of people who use like social media use a lot of Canva, and it really is a versatile way to use lots of these graphic design elements. And it's really, I find it's really user friendly. Has anyone here had much use of it before? Got in and had a play? I think I saw in the chat before that Lara has had a go before, which is great. Let me know how you have used it before. Perhaps you can pop it in the chat, or you know. Jade's used it for assignments. Fantastic, creating infographics. There's lots and lots of templates that you can use. Newest thing that Canva has, that I had to be honest, I haven't spent a lot of time playing with because I think it was only released last week, is Canva has really delved deeply into the AI space. And for a long time, there has been a bunch of different AI options that you can use within Canva, which I might actually just, while you're getting set up and ready to go with your template, I might actually show you really briefly some of the capacities that Canva AI has. And then once I find out that everyone's ready to go, we can pop across and get started on our hands-on workshop. So Canva AI has, if you've had a go at using Can AI in general, you'll sort of know that you can jump on there and put in prompts, and AI will sort of respond and give you all sorts of options. Canva has exactly the same thing, and it's got really beautiful image creating qualities. So for example, and I haven't pre-prepared this, which is a bit silly. So what I could do is I could have wanted to use this AI to create my PowerPoint slide tonight that, not PowerPoint, that's the wrong software, isn't it? The slide deck tonight. So what I could do is I could pop in here, create me a 5-page slide deck about the best ways to use Canva. Use bright colors and make it interactive. Let's see what this does. That was a really basic off the top of my head type thing, and it's going to have a little bit of a think about it. You can notice here that there is a better experience, Canva AI 2.0 that has actually just dropped this week, but I have chosen not to explore it. So what I've got here is some options. It's giving me some slide decks. I could go back in and I could talk to it and edit each of these individual things, but I'm just going to show you the very basics. I'm just going to hit here, generate design. It takes a few seconds for it to come through. And what you end up with is the basics of something that I think the most powerful thing with it is that you can grab it and then edit it and tweak it exactly how you like with a lot of the skills that we're going to learn tonight. So as it comes up with it, it's going to give me a little option. I didn't think it would take this long. Sometimes it's quite quick. How's everyone going? Are we all ready to get started soon on our template? Beautiful. Okay, so you can see here that there are a few different options that I could choose from. I might click this second one to open it up to have a look. And you can see that it has created for me a slideshow all ready to go. And all I need to do is click use Canva editor and it will pop me into Canva as a whole. And then I can edit away and make it exactly what I would like. So that's just an example. We're not going to use this particular AI spot tonight too much, but I just wanted to show you really briefly that a lot of that groundwork can be done first. Now, I am speaking to students at a university. You do need to be mindful that this is a generative AI, and depending on the requirements of your assignments, first and foremost, it's always really important that you acknowledge your generative AI use. If you're doing assignments, if you're a coursework student, there needs to be a declaration of the types of generative AI that you have used, and you also need to carefully check what is permissible in your assignments as well. So that's a little disclaimer before we start. Canva doesn't have to have generative AI, but I would always, if I was using Canva as part of my assignments, I would certainly write about that in your cover sheet or your generative AI, what's it called? I've forgotten what it's called, like disclaimer or acknowledgement that you do. I would always acknowledge that that's what I've used so that you're really transparent in what you're doing. Check with your unit assessor if you're worried that maybe it's not allowed. I would always check. Most of the time, I think it would be okay to use, but certainly check and make sure you just you acknowledge what you have used. So that is the case for all of generative AI use, and certainly a lot of this has generative AI capacities tonight. So you should be there as well. I want to show you, and I haven't got a little sample of how to do this, but I created this template with hyperlinks within my document, and I want to show you how that is so that if you decide to go back at another time and you open this up and you want to go straight to the presentation tips, what you can do when your presentation is open and your template is open, these hyperlinks should take you exactly to the spot in the slideshow that's kind of like a table of contents that I've got here. So I've just clicked there and it will take you straight to the presentation tips spot. And I want to show you really briefly how I did that. just so you know, because it's quite a simple thing. So if I wanted to create the little hyperlink, you can do it on text, and you can also do it on an image as well to create like a little hyperlink. So all you need to do what I've done there for you is on your text or wherever it is that you want to put that little bookmark. Uh, all you need to do is right click, hit link, and then you can do a external link, so a URL link that you pop in there. That's perfectly fine. But you can also link to any of the pages within your particular presentation as well. So that's just a little tip that I've got before we start. If you wanted to create a larger document, you want to have little bookmarks, that's just one of the ways that that can be done. So I've done that for you tonight. So let's get started on our images. The first thing I want, oh, where's that? Hi, Sophie. Excellent. If you want to ask a question, certainly go ahead. The first thing that we're going to do is have a play with some images. So this first page that I've got for you here, what I've tried to do with the instructions and the template here is that I've got the instructions here for you. The first thing we're going to do is one of the simplest things, which is remove the background. I know I talked about this in the basics workshop that we did a couple of weeks ago. I think that it's one of the simplest ways that we can play with images, particularly with things like, say, headshots of ourselves, various different things that we might need to do. Removing a background is something that used to be really difficult. And I know most of us now should know with our phones and various things, it's quite a quick way that we can do it. Same within Canva. So the instructions are really simple here. I've provided us with a puppy to work with, but you can put your own image in if you want to remove some of the images, whether that be an image that you upload yourself or one of the images in the Elements tab. But all we need to do is make sure that we have clicked on the image that we want to play with and click on background remover, and it will take a few seconds. Hopefully everyone's got the ability to do this and have a play with the pro settings. You can see our little puppy there has no background. You can, of course, go in and tweak it by clicking on that background button again. However, it's done a really good job. There's no need, but I could restore certain parts of it if I wanted to, or go in and remove them manually if I wanted to. So what I'm going to do now is give you, I don't think you need long. I might give you like 1 minute to go and have a play. So I know you might I've got a couple of screens here. You might just have the one laptop, so you might need to like minimize this screen, open up another screen, and have a go. I encourage you to go to the Elements, which is this tab on the left-hand side. You could choose something to go and have a play to remove the background, or as I said before, you could upload your own pictures here. So you can just click on the upload and do upload, and you can work with your own images within Canva. Or another way, you just copy and paste straight into the Canva page a picture from somewhere else that you might want to play with. So 1 minute to have a play. Let me know when you're successful, whether you're feeling good. Let me know in the chat, but I'm going to put a little timer on. 1 minute, we'll pop a little bit of working music, and we'll be back in 1 minute. I'm here to answer any questions you might have in the chat while we're working. did everyone go? Was that enough time to have a play with that, just that one spot? And for those of you who have just arrived, I have pasted, I'll see if I can do it again. Here is the template link for what we're playing with as well. So let me know, was that enough time to have a play there? I just need to get a sense for who's here and how long we need to be working. Is anyone unable to get into the template and unable to proceed? Otherwise, I'll just forge ahead and assume that everyone's okay. Jade, you've only got a replace background option. Perhaps that's because you don't have the pro version. That might be the case there. Um, I'm not 100. Oh, you have the pro. Okay, so there's no background remover. Let's have a look here. I'll just see if I can escape out of this. So when I click on it here, the background remover comes up on the little tab that is open here. The other option you could do is click on the edit button, and what that will bring up is a whole bunch of different options on the side here, and the background remover is available here on the left-hand side under Tools. Hopefully, perhaps that turns up for you. And there is a replace background option. You found it, Jade? That's fantastic. Oh, Lara's sending me a picture. Okay. I don't know why mine's there. Then, Lara, you should be able to find it if you go to the edit button here. And then over on the side, what we have is a whole bunch of different tools. And I'm actually going to take you through a bunch of those. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have a look at all of the different tools here. The background remover was one of the first ones I thought we'd play with, mainly because on my screen, the background remover is up the top. So I thought that might be the fastest one for us to have a go at. Little did I know that it's not up the top for other people. So hopefully, while I'm talking here, you've been able to have a turn at removing some backgrounds there. And I'm actually going to show you some practical reasons as to why we might need to remove backgrounds later on in the workshop. The next thing that we're going to do in that same section of editing images, we're going to have a go with some of the other things. So what I might do is I'm going to keep, I think I might keep a similar theme. Let's choose some dogs here. So I've just typed in what I'm looking for. You'll notice if you haven't used Canva before at all that you get given lots of different options. So there are usually graphics, which is sort of illustrations that you can use, photographs, 3D, there's videos, there's audios, all sorts of things come up. I'm going to, let me see, I think I will try one photograph. And that one already has its background removed. And then I might try a graphic just to show you what I'm interested in here. So I'm going to just choose, let me choose this one here. Okay, so both of them don't have backgrounds, but I've just picked them here so that I can show you a little play with some of the capabilities of the style match. So to be able to do anything, you need to have highlighted what you want to play with. So I've just highlighted this particular puppy here, and I'm opening up the edit option. So that's over on the left-hand side here. And what I'm really interested in is this style match section down here. So I'm going to open it up so that you can see all of the really quick ways in which we can tweak and play with an image that we have. So what I'm asking you to do on this section, and I might give you a couple of minutes to have a play with it, is that you can really quickly convert an image. So let me just, I think I'll pick this painterly one. I've been painting today. I'm very interested in painting at the moment. We'll give it a few seconds and it will convert this image into a painting type. So you can see that happened quite quickly there. Um, Let me see. I might actually add just really quickly so that we can, let me go back to photos. Let me add him in just so that we can see all of the different ways. I'll move him off to the side that we can really quickly change this. The one I'm loving at the moment is this lino cut or line art one as a really quick way to create. I know this is not to do with studies, but to create colouring in pages for my nieces and nephews. A really quick way, well, perhaps not the lino cut one because there's not enough room there to colour, but you could apply the line art and turn things into really simple line drawings there. So the challenge I have for you is to have a little play. There's lots of different options that you can go with all the way down here. Really quickly, let's have a look at this fellow here and I'll see if I can change that one to the chrome look. It's just a simple little fun thing, but there's lots of ways. Not only are there hundreds, thousands, maybe more than that of images, but each of those images you can play with and turn them into something quite unique. Okay, so the instructions here are that you go to the elements, you choose an image of your own, select the image, click on edit, which we can just do here to open up this column here. And that we're looking at the moment at the style match section and creating some styles there. So I think I'll give, perhaps you may have had a play so far while I've been talking, but I'll give you 2 minutes to have a play with that option there. So we'll just pop the timer on for 2 minutes. I'm always here during this time to answer any questions you might have in the chat if you wanted to type them in, and I can try and answer you there. But otherwise, take some time, put things into action, and have a play with the style match option. Did everyone go? Had enough time? Let me know. Let me know if you want more time to do anything there. Okay, the next thing that we're going to have a go at is in a similar area. So if we move to the next page of our template, what you will be able to find is that we're going to have a look at the enhance and reimagine section of the images. So what we need to do is, and I've got the pictures of them here. I can't remember if I have them for you in your slide, but you can just delete those if you want to, because what we need to do is we need to choose an image of any kind. So I'm just picking, I don't know why I'm going with dogs here at the moment, but I'm just picking the first one that I see there and opening it up. We want to have a look here. So what I'm wanting to explore here are the different options that we can do to enhance our images. One of the ones which I find really useful is that this image here, if I wanted to fill this space here with this image, what I have is I could fill it like this by making the picture larger, but I actually might want a whole lot of space above here. And what I can do is I can use the, oh, where did it go? The magic expand button here. So I can click on the magic expand and I can extend out this image quite easily. So using the free form here, if I wanted to make this image more of a portrait rather than a landscape image, I can click it like this. And then all I need to do is click expand and it will, and this is an example of that generative AI, it will use generative AI to expand that picture out and imagine what the rest of the background would look like. So you can see that that has created an option here with a window, and it's given me other options here as well. I could go with more of a plain option, some pot plants in the background, and it just does it really quickly for you. There are lots of ways that that can be done, but I will let you have a play with various options for that one there. The other option that you have is the background. Let me just get out of here. I might move this fellow across so he's out of your way. And then I might just, let's get rid of this. The background generator. So let me just have, I'm actually going to choose this one because there is no background for this one. And I'm going to open up the edit sections here and I'm going to have a go. What I want to do is create a background for this puppy dog. So let me just think of something here off the top of my head. The background could be a beautiful park with large trees. I don't know, that's not very inventive. But let's just have a go and see what is created here. So you can see that there's perhaps a lot of trial and error that you might need to do, or there might be something really specific that you want. The one that I've chosen here doesn't have a background, but the same can be done for an image that does have a background, and you can change that up. That's an interesting background that they've chosen there. I'm not overly impressed with it, but that's what it's created. So let's have a go. I might just one more. I'm going to try one more and we'll see what happens here. This one, edit, background generator, a snow, a wintry snow field. Let's just see. I don't know. And what I will do is let you have a little play after we've just had a go at that one there. Beautiful. That's a bit more realistic. Well, not necessarily realistic, but that's quite a large change there. So the other options that I'm not going to break down specifically, but that are there to play with are there are blur options, there's face retouches. Oh, actually, I might just try the face retouch really quickly. I uploaded a photo of myself because I was trying the background remove and I actually deleted it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I look a little bit old. So I left it. Here's a photo of me today. what I might do, oh, hang on, how do I click on it? I'm going to have a go at the background. Where did it go? I said it before, it was a face retouch. Hold on. I mean, we could always do with a little bit of face tune. Let's see, just smooth out the skin. There's all, which I know this technology has been around for a very long time and perhaps it is slightly problematic, but you can see that it smooths out the skin. Lovely. Let's remove the background. Um, and you could use that there. You can go right up if you want to be very bold and the beautiful. So there's that option as well. Other types of options that we have are, and I will talk about the other ones soon because we have some play for those. So have a go. You can see I've really messed up my screen. Your screen should be nice and blank, ready for you to have a play. Get in there and see if you can expand an image or create a new background with yours. Is 2 minutes enough time for you to be working? I have lots of things I want to show you tonight, so I think that's okay. We will give you 2 minutes to have a play, um, and we'll be back to do the next thing. Let everyone go. This next one is, I'd love to hear, did everyone have a chance to play with something with Style Match? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you're back at it, or maybe you're deeply busily creating here while I'm talking. Um, I will keep going ahead, but please let me know if you need me to slow down or something like that. This next one is relatively new, and I am loving it and I find it really, really interesting. But before I move on to show you, can you remind me how to extend the image into portrait? Yes, I can actually. Why don't I just show you with this one right here rather than going back? So with this image here, if we want to make it sort of a different shape, what we do is we go to the edit. And then over here are all of the tools. And the tool that we're looking for is the Magic Expand tool, which is this one here. And it will give us some whole options. So I might actually show you with this one, the whole page. So what I did last time was I actually used the freeform version, which you just sort of change like that. So you choose the shape that you want it to be changed into. If I was to choose this one, which is the whole page, it would expand this image out, and it will take, I'm not sure how long, it'll take a few seconds. And it just makes the image bigger. That's interesting there. It gives me a few different options. Just look at this one. Oh, I quite like that one. And it expands it out in different ways. That one's expanded out in a farm location. So you can see that there's all of those different options. So there's that one there. I'm cancelling out of that though, because we are going to have a go at this magic layers. This one's super fun. It's quite new, but what it can do is it actually can take an image and create a whole bunch of layers so that you can manipulate elements within that particular image in different ways. Let me show you how that works. So again, I've clicked on the image, I've opened up the edit. I actually opened up all the tools so that I could see it clearly. And the one that I want is this down the bottom, the magic layers. It's sort of got that purple color to it there. And it's just going to have a little think, and it's going to identify all of the different items in this image. It won't take too long. I mean, some of these options I haven't even played with myself. I'm just looking at the image to video one there, and I'm like, I have not had a go at that one, and I might like to. So what you can see are all the different images here. So they're all selected at the moment. I'm going to click away from it so that I can select an individual item. So see this item here? I can resize it. I can drag it out of the way and it becomes an image all on its own. In the past, what I might have had to do is like remove a background and erase certain bits to get a particular part of an image. It also sort of has a little think about what's underneath. I mean, you can see it's not perfect here because I would have liked that stem to come with it, but you can see that I could do all sorts of things with all of these different images. That one's quite cool. It's sort of pretended, I mean, it's not the best, but it's got the fence along the background here and just put some green grass in. The other way that you could do it, and I actually might just, my daughter's been using my Canva account, so she's popped this image in here. I'm not sure what from, but let's have a go at it. I've just seen it there. Let's open her up and let's see what this will do. I think there's a lot of potential for this to do lots of really fun things, particularly within our own photos. I'm excited to have a play. I think certain pictures lend themselves to it more. It grabbed that text straight off the background there, you can see. But this, oh, this is interesting. Oh, that's a little bit creepy, really, that it's pulled that out. But we could make this bigger. The snail here is a separate piece in and of itself. So you can see that there's lots of fun things that you can do. The sky is your limit. What I want is for you to have a go at doing it. I am going to, I'm very aware of the time. I'm only going to give us 1 minute to have a play with this. So jump over right now and have a play because I have so many other things to show you. I know that wasn't a lot of time. Uh, but we do need to forge along so that we can get all of this stuff done. This one I actually showed you in the last workshop that I taught. I actually thought it was lots of fun. So I've got the copy style, I think is really quite useful, particularly if you're creating a presentation or an infographic or something and you want to keep a really consistent style. I think that's really important when we're creating something. We want the style to be really cohesive. Um, but you might find sort of two different elements that you want to use, and this copy style is a way in which we can create a more consistent look. So let me show you how it works. What you need to do is I've got two images on your template here. Have a go with these and then you can have a go on your own. But what we want to do is select the image, and there are three little dots. Well, and it's also up here. But anyway, I'm going to show you here two places where it is. The bar along here is the copy style button, or you can click the three little dots and then copy style. Okay, and it creates this little paint roller. And if you click on another image, it will copy the style of the previous image onto the new image, and it creates that more cohesive look. And we could do it vice versa as well with that one. I would have been able to change, but let's just see what happens here. There we go. So it's created that more cohesive look. I will do the opposite for you now. So I'm going to copy the style here and change it back for the other. And then you can have a little go at doing that one. I might not actually give you a specific time to do that. We might move on, but you can see how that works. And maybe you can have a play as I'm talking, or after the session or something like that. So you can see how that has created two beautiful line images there and has copied the style. I find it quite useful. I've actually used it quite a lot, this one, as I go about my designing in slideshows and whatnot. The next one I want to show you is a couple of weeks ago, I did a whole session on using the morph feature in PowerPoint. I don't know if anyone has had a go at that before. It's a really simple transition that creates animations. And I wanted to show you really briefly. We went into quite detail on it. We spent 2 hours having a go at doing it a couple of weeks ago. There are the ability within Canva to use transitions and animations as such is all there for you to use. This is a really specific example of how we might be able to use it. So the morph function in PowerPoint is basically the match and move transition in Canva, and it can be used to well, essentially show changes or draw attention to certain things. So what we need to do is I create a slide with your image on it. Now, I've provided an image with a very simple concept on it. This is applicable in lots of different areas, but I've provided it here. I'm going to show you how. Oh, it's a daisies. I'm going to copy this image and I'm going to create a whole new slide. So how we create a new slide is by hovering over this section here and just adding a page. And then I've got my image here. So what I'm going to do is pop the slide. Yep, I was just giving myself a reminder of how to do this. This is my image, and what I want to do is I want to have a few slides that will move within this cycle. So what we have first, I think, if I go like this, creating this image. Hold on a minute. Should have pre-prepared this, shouldn't I? Okay, let's say I start here. I want to open up here and I want to show the whole cycle of metamorphosis between these living forms. And then what I want to do is duplicate that slide. So to create an animation, often what we need to do is create a whole bunch of slides and then it creates the animation. So I'm going to just duplicate this slide. One of the ways to do that is to go down on the little tile with the slide here. And I believe there is duplicate page. The other way you could do it is you could use your keyboard shortcuts and just go Control C, Control V, which is sort of that usual copy paste shortcut. On this second slide, what I'm going to do is actually zoom right in to my caterpillar. And I actually have preloaded in the notes section here, which I'll show you a bit about later, some information. So let me just, later on, I'm going to be showing you a whole bunch of shortcuts. One of those shortcuts is if you just press the letter T, a little text box appears. I find it super helpful so I don't have to constantly go across here to text and do insert text. I just press the letter T on my keyboard and a little spot pops up. So let me just do this. All those things we learnt about last time. We can change the font size. I don't like that number. It looks a bit dumb. I can change the font here, make it bold, all of those different things. Okay, so that's one example, right? Now what I want to do is duplicate it. And what I'm going to do here is duplicate this slide. And the only thing I'm going to do is move this around like this. And then I'm going to replace, let me just, the text. There we go. That was a bit silly. Let's 25 for that. There we go. Okay, so you kind of get the picture there. I don't want to waste too much of your time, but we do it again by duplicating the page. We move around to this spot here. I actually don't love how that's not twisting. I think I might do it that way. And I'm just twisting it around. I need to change this again. I'm just going to write butterfly just so that you can get the concept. Obviously, I should change that writing. Last one, we move to here. Let's just see what that looks like. So back to the beginning, I've created all of my slides there. All we need to do is add the transition. So this here I'm not going to get you to do these things, but it's here for you to remind you how to do it later if you wanted to have a go here. What there is that you need to hover between your cursor between the page thumbnails, which you've got an image of it here, like this, hover. And then this little button here, the little arrowy button here, will open up all of the transitions. This transition we're looking for is the match and move. And what we want to do is, if you're working on a slideshow where you want to do this between all of them, you do apply between all pages. And let me show you what that might look like here. So we've got this one here, and as I move across, you can see that it focuses on one, brings it up to the other, brings it up to the other, and then obviously this text should have changed, but I didn't change it for you in the moment, but you can see that you can create some really simple transitions that help you focus on different topics. So that's just a little example of the different ways in which you can use the transition. There's lots of different transitions that you can use. but you can make that go a bit faster, a little bit slower. Let's see what that looks like if I make that a bit slower. Um, oh, I don't think I did make that slower there. I might not have applied it. I don't think I did. Make it a bit slower. Apply between all pages. Here we go. Let's see. So there's a little bit less jerky in the movements there when I changed the transition. Um, does anyone have any questions about that one? Nope. I'm not going to give you time to have a practice of that one, but you can see how that might work. And that brings us to our handy hints. We're about halfway through time. Hopefully everyone's doing okay. Um, and we will just get going. So, handy hints. These ones I will not get you to specifically do, but they are here for you if you want to. If you use a lot of templates, so for example, if you jump up here, there are a whole bunch of different templates that you can use, right? I might actually, let's just I'm just making a copy of this so that I can change some things and I'm not ruined. Hold on. Here we go. If I was to say use a template, sorry, my computer's having a little think here. Let's say this template here. Apply all 10 pages. What I might have is a whole bunch of things. Oh, replace all pages. Let's do it. It might be that on each of these pages there is, let me see if there is. It isn't there. But there are a few times. So let's say one of the templates that you've got has a whole bunch of words that are repeated throughout the entire template, and you're like, oh, I'm sick of going in there and changing all of them. What you have is the ability to find and replace. So, for example, with this 2025, if it's actually 2026 and you want to change all of them at once, what you do is, and I've got the instructions here for you to remember for later, is you go to File. So let's go back over here, File, and then you go to Find and Replace Text, which is this button here. Kind of, I don't know, I've often done it in five within the document. I'm not sure if I'm still online. It looks like I've lost you. Is everyone still here? I think did I just lose everyone? Jade said it's dropped out. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
I just noticed it all said offline and I'm like, oh, goodness gracious. All right, I'm back. Sorry. I don't know what I need to go back to because I've been rabbiting on. Um, all right, where I'm up to, hopefully it makes sense for everyone, is that if I'm wanting to replace everything that is the same within a document, I go to File. I don't know if I'd done that before it dropped out. And I go to Find and Replace Text and open up this box here. So I've typed in the 2025 and I want to replace it with 2026. And I just go replace all and it will go and replace all of them. It's just a little tip for sometimes when you're using templates and you're like, I'm sick of going in and replacing all of this. There's a way for you to replace all of it really quickly. So that's just a little example for you there. Handy hint that you might find useful. Another handy hint that I often find when I am doing a lot of designing within Canva is that there are ways to tidy up different elements. So I've got a practical assignment for you here, which I might let you have a play with in a moment. I'll show you really briefly. What I mean by tidy up is I could sit here and try and align these, which is fine. You know, your little guidelines come up and you can help sort of line them up and make sure they're all evenly spaced and whatnot. But there is a really quick way to do that. One of those ways is to select them all. So I could click on here, I could hold down my shift button, click on this next one, click on this next one, and then select all of the items. Another way that you can do that, if you're doing a lot of this work, it can get tedious and annoying. The other way that you can select all of the items within a space is you can just click your mouse down and just drag over the top of all of them and then let go. So that's another way to select all of your items. Another way, if you want to select all the items on your pages, you can do Control A for control, like selecting all of your items. But what I've got here is I've selected the items, and what you can click on is position, and it will open up either over here, it will open options. So I can align these elements to the top, to the left, to the right, to the middle, all sorts of options. The one that I like the most is tidy up, which is this one here. And I can just click it and all of a sudden everything is in a row, it's evenly distributed, and it's all tidied up for me. So I find that one quite useful. I'll show you just briefly what happens when we select. Oh, hold on, I've got to select them all again. We can align them all to the left. We can align them all to the center, to the right. There's all sorts of things that we can do. But I might give you a second to have a go and tidy up all of those flowers within your template that you've got to play with. And I've got a little note here, which one of those shortcuts, and we're going to talk about the shortcuts in a moment, is that if I select all of these items here, the shortcut on my keyboard is I click down Alt Shift T and it will tidy them all up for me. Okay, 1 minute to have a play with that and put that into action. Hope that was enough time for you. The next thing I wanted to show you, and this is a little resource for you. I mean, you could have Googled this and found it yourself, but I've popped it all here for you in that these are the shortcuts I love to use. If you're using Canva a lot or you're doing a really detailed project, sometimes just knowing the little shortcuts for your keyboard can make a lot of difference to how you work. There, I've given the link here in your template. You should be able to go out to the website that shows you all of the shortcuts. I have copied and pasted the ones that I use the most. I mean, most of us know these ones. They're pretty standard across most computers. But the one that I use quite often is the adding the text. I used to go and I'd go to the text bar and then I'd go insert text heading, and it was always a little bit annoying. Now I just need to hit the letter T on my keyboard and a little text box pops up. The same thing for some basic shapes. If you're wanting a rectangle to sort of go behind some text or as a design element, you just need to hit the button R. The same for a line. If you want to add just a line to go underneath something, I should just show you here. So let's hold on. as I'm doing this. Let's see if I just hit the letter L, a line comes up. I can change the thickness of that line. I can change the color of that line and do all sorts of things with it. The same thing, let me move that down to the bottom, change the length, etc. The same thing would happen if I wanted to add a circle. I hit the letter C, up comes a circle. I can actually type within that circle, but I don't have to. And then I can change, of course, the color as well. One thing I might add here really briefly. Oh, hold on, let me put it back quite simply with the letter C. Is that there are effects that I can add really quickly to these shapes to make them perhaps more interesting. I can add all sorts of things. I can change the color. I can add lots of different effects as I go. So there's heaps of ways that you can edit these shapes. What's another? So similar commands, I've got the Mac and the Windows commands there just to show you that they are slightly different. Here are some of the other ones that I use quite often. Sometimes I want to group a whole bunch of images, elements together because I'm using them as a whole. Control G is a way to group them together. So they'd have to be selected. So I think I've got 3 elements here. So if I was to select this 3 groups of things, but I wanted them to work as a whole, I would just Control G to group them together, and then I'd be able to, well, I didn't select the whole lot of groups there, did I? But you'd be able to move them all like that in one go. Sometimes you want to bring your elements forward and back. The shortcut for that is that you do Control square bracket and this way. And then I told you before about the tidy up elements. So that's just a something that I thought I would share with you. Handy hints in the middle before we move on to the presenting tips. Another handy hint, if you're a prolific Canva user like myself, is that you probably end up with a lot of different files. I just wanted to show you, and I might see if I can, how do I go? I'll go out here. I'm clicking into home and I'm just showing you a little bit of my private messy life, but I will show you that there are ways in which you can organize all of your files. I have my daughter using my stuff as well, so she makes a huge mess. So what I like to do is I like to arrange my files into folders. Very simple concept. Along the side here are all of my projects, and you can see that I have all of my different folders here. So for example, when I was completing my PhD here at SCU, my PhD was in visual arts. You can see I had a lot of visual elements, but I would put them all into one folder so that I'd know where to find them. Obviously, one of the ways that you keep yourself organized is that you name your designs that you're doing, and then you can go back in and you can find them by searching them by name, but you can also put them into a folder. So the way that you do that, very simple, you go to File, you go to Move, and then you can pop them into a folder that you've already pre-created, or you can create your own folder there. So the other way that you can organize yourself is that you can star an item. So you can, let's go back here so that I can see all of my projects. Hold on one moment. Here are all of my folders. I have a few that I star so that they come up quite quickly, and that can help you as well. So that's just a little tip that I wanted to show you, is that you can sort of favorite things by putting a star on the top corner, and you can organize things by folders. It took me a while. Maybe I'm just a messy soul. It took me a while to figure that out. When I did, it was really quite helpful that I can organize things in that way. Alrighty, zooming on through, we are a little more than halfway. I want to share with you some presentation tips, some different ways in which we can use Canva to present. So I've left it this way, so I haven't actually got it in presentation mode because I want to be able to show you how it all works in the background. And I've taken a screenshot here. But I do most of my presentation through Canva. I find it quite ergonomic. I don't know if any of you have to do live presentations in your studies. Some of you might be studying, might be completing your PhD, and you might need to go and present at conferences, or perhaps when you finish your degree, you might be presenting in the workplace. Canva has a great platform for that, and I want to show you some of the background of that if you haven't already seen it. So one of the ways that we go about doing our presentations is that we can have some notes, and I want to show you those here. So down the bottom left is some notes. This can be either for a live presentation and you want to have some key things to remember that you would type here, or it might be that you're working on something and you're not even going to present. You can actually write some notes in that note section to help you remember things, copy and paste a whole bunch of stuff in there. There's lots of reasons you can use that notes section. But this is the presenter view that you see in the background. And I'm going to just open it up and hope to share it with you so that you can actually see it in real time. So I'm not sure what you can, I think you can still see audience window here. So when you click presenter view, you get two windows that open up. One of them is the audience view, which is when I click enter full screen, it's my whole screen big. And the other one, which I'm going to drag over so that you can see it, is the presenter window. And what this is it's a little window that you get in the background that no one else can see. It shows you what everyone else can see, gives you a little timer that shows you how long you've been presenting for. If perhaps you might have a 20-minute presentation that you need to give or a 10-minute presentation, you can see that timer as you go. It also gives you your little notes here. And there are a bunch of different things that it shows you. So on the next page, let me go across to it here so that you can see it. I'll make this quite big. When you're presenting live, we discussed this in our last time. We discussed this option the last time I had a workshop with you, and one of the attendees, Amanda, shout out to Amanda if you're watching the recording, she was really taken by this concept of the presenting live and the different things you can do there. And she did take that and then do a presentation the next week. And she sent me a message and said it went really well. So what there is when you present live are all of these magic shortcuts that you can use. So you can use them just by opening up. Let me see if it will open up for me here. Why isn't it opening? You can use all of these magic shortcuts either by opening up or by just using your keyboard. So for example, if something exciting happens, you can just, oh, you can't see it because I'm in, hold on, let me go here, just a moment. I've got to move this away so that you can see it. So if I was to use the letter C, confetti comes out. We can do a drum roll. There's lots of little interactive things you can do. The one that I find most useful, that I use most often, is the blur. Sometimes when I'm presenting, I change the page of a slide and I want to talk to my students or my audience, but I don't want them reading it yet. I'm like, oh, I've gone too fast. And so I sometimes will use this blur to blur it out so that I can talk, and then I can bring their attention back to the slide by pressing that B again. So that's just another little way in which you can present live with all of those added things. The one thing before I move on, hopefully you can see this as I drag this in front. The other thing that I wanted to show you really briefly, and perhaps you can watch our last workshop where we discussed it in more detail, is that there is the ability for this remote control. So if you're ever presenting in a classroom, if you've got an assignment where you need to give a presentation in real life, one way that could get you out from behind the computer is you can use this magic remote. So you open it up, you'll use your phone to grab that QR code, and then you'll get an actual remote on your phone, and you can perhaps walk around the room a little bit and change your slides just using your phone and see the notes on your phone. It's actually quite handy. So that's one other option that you have. Now, I'm going to just get out of this so that I can go back instead of zooming on ahead. One thing that I want you to have a play with is the recording yourself presenting, because I think that this is the really helpful thing, particularly for students who are studying. Often your assignments will require you to record a presentation. And within Canva, it's quite simple. So what you need to do is you need to just go up here to the share button when you've got a bit of a slideshow, and then you choose present and record, which is just here, and go to the recording studio. It has a bit of a hard time when I'm in a Zoom meeting because it wants to use, I'm already using my camera over here in Zoom. But if I was not in Zoom, I would select my camera and I would start recording. I'm going to just go to start recording here. Gives me a little timer, and then I would record and talk about this section, and then I would move to the next one and talk about that section, etc. It's quite intuitive to use. When I'm finished, I click end recording, or I pause if I want to have a break there. I'm just going to end the recording there. But what I want to do is give you a minute to have a little play with that. I think that just hold on. I'm going to discard that one because I don't want to keep it because I was just talking. But I want to give you a little bit of time to have a play with that. And I might give you 5 minutes, I think. If you need to jump up and have a little rest break, I've been going for quite a while, feel free to do that in this next 5 minutes. But we'll take 5 minutes to have a play with that one, and then we will come back after that 5 minutes. Hopefully you will have recorded a little pretend video there for me. Does anyone have any questions about that? Will you feel good? Okay, so let me get out of here and let me back to editing. We'll take 5 minutes to have a play with the recording. I realized after a while that my music would be disturbing your recording, but let me know. Did anyone have any success doing any little recordings there? If you did, give me a little thumbs up or pop it in the chat. I know 5 minutes is not a lot of time, um, and maybe I'm verbally destroying your recording as we go. But hopefully you were able to open that up and have a little go there. In the interest of time, because we only have about half an hour left together, what I might do is show you this next one rather than have a time where you have a go, knowing that the instructions are here for you. So that you can have a go yourself later. So, one thing that is possible with Canva, and I don't know if it's useful to you or not, you might want to create a presentation or even a thing that you perhaps embed in a website at some stage or that you share with people that has an interactive element to it. So Canva has the ability to pop little interactive polls or quizzes within their presentations or any of the things that you share. So one of the ways that you can do that is you just go over to Elements, and let's get rid of this here, and scroll down, and there is the Forms button here. So you can create a whole bunch of different interactive things. So where people RSVP, where they rate their experience, etc. And so what you can do is you can just, let's have a look at what there is here. Really simple questions that you might ask. I'm just going to click on this one and add it in there. So what you can do is add this to your design, and when you share it online, people can actually interact with it and you can see the results. So there's lots of different options that you can do, but there is a little bit of practicality about how it is that you get your audience to share it. Obviously, if you're presenting in a classroom or a workspace and the presentation's up on a big screen, people can't just go in and click that. They need to have a digital version of it to be able to interact with. So one of the ways that you can do that is, what have I got here? You create a public view link. for your audience to be able to click on or open up to be able to interact with your poll. So one of the ways that you do that is you go up to the share button and create a public view link. That's there. And what that means, a little bit different to the template that I gave you before. It creates a link, not that people can edit. I gave you a template link so you're able to jump in there and edit and play around with it. But this creates a public link where people can go in and just access it. I'll actually show you. So let's go copy here. I might actually just show you if I do an incognito window, I think is best. It just will open up a kind of like a little slideshow of the presentation, and you can click right throughout it. So I'm actually going to go and try and find where I'm up to here. This is that one that I inserted just a moment ago, how I'm feeling, and I can click there, how I'm feeling, and hit submit, and my response has been saved. So let's just go out of that there. Let's go back and find it here. So this is where I created that public link. And when you're presenting live, you need to be able to find a way to share that public link with people. So perhaps in a situation like this, I would pop it into the chat box, and then the people listening to me can open it up. You might have a website. Another way that you can do it is by creating a QR code. So a QR code is a great way if you've got something up on your screen and you want your audience to maybe grab their phone and use it that way and then interact with it via their phones. So you can create a QR code. One of the ways that you can do that, there's lots of ways to create a QR code. Within Canva, one of the ways is that you can create a little app here. Well, not create an app, but you can use an app. And I just would type in QR. And the one that I like to use is this one here because it's quite simple. You just open it up, Control V, I've pasted that in, and I just generate the QR code there. And then that QR code is available. So let me show you really briefly how I go back in and I can check the results of that. So I can see when I click on this here, there should only be one result because I just created it then and then responded to it myself. But you can see that there's one result there, and then I could view the results. I checked number 4, so you can see the result there. So that's just one way that Canva has some interactive elements that you can use that I thought I would really briefly show you about. All right, in our last half hour left, there's a whole bunch of apps. Now, I alluded to them just then with the QR code one. You can see down the side here that there's a whole bunch of different apps that I've added to my Canva that I use either once or often. The QR code one here is the one that I probably use the most, to be honest. But I've got a whole bunch that I would like to show you. This one we're not going to do in person because the apps are actually kind of external applications that other companies have sort of integrated into Canva. Not all of them, but some of them require you to sign up. I don't know how I feel about that. And to be honest, I don't want to sign up to a whole bunch of different things all the time. This is an example of one in particular that does want you to sign up, and you get one use out of it before it becomes, before you have to pay money. So I kind of got this one up front here to show you that there are lots of things in Canva that, you know, they're wanting to take your money in some way or another. This is an example of one of them, but you might find it useful, perhaps, to use the one free one. So what it does is it creates sort of an animated drawing style. Let me show you here what it looks like. So I popped an image in there, and then it has sort of animated that and drawn that for me there. So the instructions for how you can go about doing that are down the side here. It's as simple as scrolling here to find, where is it? Oh, here, this one here, which is apps, and then you can search for the app. So this one was Speed Paint, and it should pop up there. But when you pop into that one, it actually makes you sign up to something. So I don't know how I feel about that one. This one here is the image blender. I've got some examples of things that I've done before. Uh, it may or may not be useful to you. You might want to create sort of really some seamless blending. You can jump into it. I think I've got it open. Hold on. But how you would image blender, this one here. How you go about doing this one is you upload a photo uh, and oh, I've got to select an image. Hold on. So you select the image. This one is actually a paid version, so I will ignore that one. And then this one here, this one is also a paid version, but you can create a blend there. So that's just an option. In the interest of time, I'm going to actually move along so that we can leave it open to all sorts of things, but you can see that that option is there. Now, I've done all of these with the one photo. It makes me seem really self-centered, but I kind of wanted to show you the consistency of the different things that these apps can do. Cartoonify, it's just a really quick way in which you can play with some images. So before I actually showed you a whole bunch of different ways in which you can create and edit your images. There are all sorts of other filters that you can add. And different things like that that we didn't touch on. But another way that you can edit your images is you can use a whole bunch of external apps that are on there. So you can see there's all sorts of different ones there. This one is called Cartoonify, and it comes up like this. Really quick. I know there's a lot of other software that can do it. This one here, I think was this button, this particular one here. You can give it specific instructions if you want. Let's just go with this one and we'll see what it does here with the same image, and it can create a really quick cartoon image out of a photo. We'll give it a second. What I'm going to do now is my plan is to go through and show you all of these things. I know I'm talking a lot, but then once I've done that, then I'll be able to, perhaps we'll finish off a bit early, or I'll give you some time to have a play with the ones that you want to have a play with. I think that's the best way forward here. It's still having a long think about it, but it won't be long. Does anyone have any questions while we wait? And there we go. Um, so you can see that depending on what it is that you click on, it gives you different options for the cartooning. Uh, Another option that an app has is the blend image. So it's where you can take two different images and blend them together. So that's this app here. So I've got some examples of the two images that I had. So there was this one image and then this image here. This image actually, I used the magic extend on. It was actually just these flowers, and I used that magic extend to sort of make it bigger. Let me see if I can just choose two images really quickly here off the bat. Hold on, I'll go back and find some images. Let me see, what could we, so mountains, let's have a look. Might want this one. And then what else could we do? Face. Let's have a look. I don't know. I'm just playing around here. So let's see. So I've got these two images. Let's make them slightly smaller so we can see what we're doing. And I might delete these suckers out of the way. Okay, so we've got two images, and now I want to go back to my blend image app. So you can choose a file from your computer if you want to, or you can use the images that we've got here. So I'm going to pick this one for my bottom layer, and then this one for my top layer. And you can see down here that that is one way that you can do it. There's lots of different options that you can click here to play with it. Let's see what happens when I do it the other way round. So you can create sort of fairly interesting effects depending on what it is that you're after. So the blend image has some options there for you to play with images. This next one, this final one actually, is I actually find it quite fascinating and quite cool looking. I used it on the, let's go, opening slide here, which is this one here. It's just a way to have different fonts with the backgrounds. That's how I did this one here. So how you go about using that is by using the Type Cutout app. So it's probably already open there for me, but I'll just show you how you get to the apps is you click on the app little tile here on the left-hand side and you type in the one that you want. There it is. Should open it up. So how this works, one of the ways I used to do this was by like a really long, convoluted way of using frames, which I might show you in just a moment. And then you'd have to set it all up, and it took a long time. But essentially, what you can do here is you can choose an image of your own. Oh, okay. Let's see. It's going into my files. So let's find some pictures that I might have here. I'm just going to pick this one. So it creates a little spot here, and what you can do, you can see that it uploads it. If I wanted it to, let's see, I like that. Let's go that. I can change the font. I can obviously change the word. So if I want the word to be my name, I don't love the outline. I like it when there's no outline, and then there's lots of different fonts that I can choose there. This is not a great picture, but anyway, it is what it is. And then I create and add to my design there. So it's just a really quick way in which you can create new fonts and new different ways to do things. And what I did here was I actually I created it there. Let me just show you really briefly. Where do we go? Let's trash that image and use another image. Let me see. Let's see. I might have a photo of myself. Here we go. So let's go this one here. I might actually rotate it here. Let's see. Oh, I want it to go the other way. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. And this might be like that. Okay, so this here, let's add it to my design. It's a little bit hard to see, so I might actually do this on a new page. Okay, So to create sort of a mirror of that same image that I did on the opening slide, what I do is I grab this and I add it here. But what I want is that photo again. So I'm going to need to upload that photo. So how I do that is I'm going to go to uploads and I'm going to upload the file. I'm going to have to find it again here. Okay. And I'm inserting that photo here. And so what I might do is create it so that it's the same size. Now, remember before I told you about how we could change the background and order of things? We can do that by the shortcut, or we can actually open up here and we can change the layering of things here. And what I could do is just bring it like this. So that looks fine. And but what I did with the other image was, oh, whoopsie daisies. I don't know why I keep doing that, is I would remove the background of this image and then layer it over the top so that I get that more seamless look. Hold on, here we go here. So, let's not be the same size. There we go. Like this there. So you can, it's not quite lining up for some reason, but there we go. That's how I would create that same image that I created before. You can see similar things have been done here. I've taken a painting that I've done. I created the words, and so it makes that seamless look there. You could bring that across so that it touches, but I actually think it reads better if it doesn't touch there. And you can see all of the different ways that that can be done. So that's a whole lot of me talking and not giving you any time to practically play with those, but you can see that there are a whole bunch of different creative apps that are embedded within Canva that you can have a play with to create sort of interesting effects. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask? What I might do is I'm going to stop my share so I can see you all a bit better. I'm happy to review anything or go back over anything, but what I've done is I've sort of forged ahead and talked through all of those things without giving you time to play with them because we were coming right to the end of our time together. So we've got another 10 minutes that we can either work together or I can perhaps leave you to it to be able to play in this last 10 minutes and beyond on your own, in your own time. Let me know what it is that you want to do, and I'll work with you. If I talked you all into a stupor or you're busy playing with it yourself. Thanks, Carrie. I know it's a lot. I've sort of bombarded you with a whole bunch of different things. Um, I'm sort of hoping that you take maybe one or two ideas that can work with you and implement them into your practice. And of course, you can come back to it at any stage as well. So maybe we might wrap up there unless someone has any specific questions. I'll leave you to go and play. And hopefully you can put some of, come back to it and play at different times. That template, now that you've opened it up in your account, will always be there unless you choose to delete it. And you can bump back into it and have a play with things as time goes on for whatever is helpful for you. So good luck with everything. I hope you all have lots of fun with Canva. And maybe I'll see you around. Thanks so much, everyone.